On a rainy day, Amane comes across Mahiru, a popular classmate, sitting on a swing and offers her his umbrella. As a result, Amane catches a cold the next day but still goes to school. When he returns to his apartment, he finds Mahiru with his umbrella, as she lives in the apartment next to his. Despite his worsening cold, Mahiru helps Amane in his messy apartment and cooks porridge for him. As Amane recovers, he discovers Mahiru's excellent cooking skills and her dislike for the nickname Angel given to her at school. They agree to act like strangers at school, but Mahiru notices that Amane lives on takeout food and energy drinks, so she offers to cook dinner for him. This becomes a regular routine. Amane's friend, Itsuki, notices the positive changes in Amane's health due to his improved diet. Later, Mahiru helps Amane clean his apartment, and he buys pizza for her. Amane is confused when Mahiru reveals that she comes from a wealthy family and has never had to cook for herself. When Amane asks why she is cooking for him, Mahiru insists that she enjoys showing off her skills, but Amane remains skeptical. 2. After coming across Mahiru with a sprained ankle, Amane carries her home while wearing his PE clothes to avoid recognition. During their conversation, Amane casually mentions wanting to try Mahiru's cooking, while it's still fresh and hot. To his surprise, Mahiru agrees to cook in Amane's kitchen, and they split the cost of ingredients and eat together. They both enjoy eating together, but Amane finds the arrangement unusual since they are not dating and have no romantic interest in each other. While studying, Amane works hard to get good grades, but Mahiru claims she is required to get top grades without explaining why. Amane happens to notice Mahiru's upcoming birthday on her ID and asks his friend Itsuki and Itsuki's girlfriend Chitose for gift ideas. Despite Mahiru's claim that she never celebrates her birthday, she accepts Amane's gift of hand cream and a teddy bear, which makes her very happy. She reveals that she usually keeps her birthday a secret, so accepting Amane's gift is a significant gesture. Amane briefly wonders if this is what it feels like to have a girlfriend, but he quickly reminds himself that they are not dating. 3. Amane's mother, Shoko, unexpectedly visits his apartment and finds Mahiru asleep in his room, leading her to believe that they are either dating or almost dating. After Shoko leaves, Mahiru expresses her relief that Amane has a kind mother, as her own parents never even bothered to call her by her first name. Amane and Mahiru then decide that they can use each other's first names, but only in private. Mahiru is surprised when Amane gives her a spare key to his apartment. When Mahiru gets first place in their exams, Amane buys a cake as a reward, something she never received from her parents. They end up feeding each other bites of cake, but soon realize it's embarrassing. Amane decides to try cooking for himself, but it doesn't go well. Mahiru is pleased that he still needs her to cook for him. Itsuki and Chitose convince Amane to invite them to his apartment for a Christmas Eve party. Mahiru chooses to hide in her own apartment until they leave, but asks Amane to spend Christmas Day teaching her to play video games. When it starts snowing at the party, Chitose and Itsuki notice Mahiru doing the same on her own balcony next door, accidentally discovering that she is Amane's neighbor. 4. Amane and Mahiru explain their living arrangement to Itsuki and Chitose, who are skeptical about their claim of having no romantic feelings for each other, but agree to keep it a secret. Amane is upset that their secret didn't last long and feels confused about his own emotions. Despite this, he and Mahiru share dinner together as usual, and Mahiru reveals that she learned cooking from the woman who took care of her. As planned, they spend Christmas Day playing video games, which leads to embarrassing moments as Amane teaches Mahiru how to play. Amane surprises Mahiru with a Christmas gift, a cute case to keep his spare key in. Mahiru unexpectedly moves Amane's hair from his face and realizes that he is actually quite handsome. Amane reciprocates by doing the same to her and noticing her beauty. Mahiru panics and reveals the gift she got for Amane, a scarf. However, Mahiru develops a fever and Amane takes care of her, putting her in his bed to rest. Unexpectedly, Mahiru holds Amane's hand until she falls asleep. Later, she reveals that it was Koiki, her parents' maid, who taught her cooking, but even Koiki couldn't take care of her when she was sick as she went home at night. Amane promises to stay with her every night until she gets better. However, later Amane becomes angry with himself for falling in love with Mahiru. Amane's parents plan to visit him on New Year's Day, but Mahiru falls asleep in his arms before he can tell her forcing him to put her in his bed while he sleeps on the sofa. The next morning, Mahiru is embarrassed. Amane's parents arrive and Mahiru meets his father, Shoto. They decide to visit a shrine, even though Amane is still worried about people from school seeing them together. While talking with Shoto, it is revealed that Amane lives alone due to a past incident. Amane is stunned by Mahiru's appearance in a traditional yukata, and Mahiru is also happy to see how mature Amane looks in smart clothes, which she tells him. Unfamiliar with the yukata, Mahiru holds Amane's arm throughout the visit to avoid tripping. Amane's parents eventually return home, but a rumor spreads at school that Mahiru visited a shrine with a secret boyfriend without realizing it was actually Amane. Amane warns Mahiru that being seen with him could be bad for her, but Mahiru, tired of his low opinion of himself, scolds him and angrily lists everything she likes about him. Amane is surprised by Mahiru's positive impression of him, and Mahiru, mortified by her outburst, spends the rest of their evening hiding her face in a pillow. As Valentine's Day approaches, Mahiru decides to only give chocolates to her female friends in order to avoid starting rumors. Amane notices that their classmate Yuta Katowaki is receiving chocolates from many girls and lends him a bag to carry them all. Mahiru makes chocolates for Amane, but she is embarrassed and quickly leaves them in his apartment before returning home. Amane discovers that the chocolates were handmade and made to his preference of bitter chocolate. Yuta returns Amane's bag, which sparks some gossip among their classmates. Despite Mahiru's insistence that she does not need a gift for White Day, Amane decides to get her one. Mahiru is annoyed with Amane for not telling her about his birthday before Christmas, and she demands that they celebrate his next birthday. However, she is also embarrassed by the implication that they will still be together in a year. Amane gives Mahiru a flower bracelet and an anything you want coupon, which she immediately uses to have him put the bracelet on for her. Amane finds it increasingly difficult to repress his feelings for Mahiru, and Itsuki correctly deduces that his fear of rejection is holding him back. After accidentally touching Mahiru's hand, Amane is emotionally overwhelmed when she reveals that she hates boys touching her but doesn't mind when Amane does it. Amane worries that Mahiru is treating him like a newlywed wife. Itsuki has a heated argument with his father, prompting him to seek temporary refuge with Amane. Mahiru, feeling sympathetic, prepares dinner for Itsuki and attempts to help him get Amane to open up about his feelings. Chitose, uninvited, comes over and asks Mahiru to be honest with her emotions, but her efforts are in vain. Eventually, Itsuki leaves, but before things can return to normal, Mahiru is visited by Sayo, a woman who insults her and reveals herself as Mahiru's mother. Sayo confesses that she has despised Mahiru since birth, as her parents' marriage was arranged for business reasons and Mahiru's birth was an accident. Mahiru was raised by servants like Koike, as her existence prevented her parents from getting a divorce until she graduates from university. Amane comforts Mahiru as she cries on his shoulder, revealing his kindness towards her. They decide to take a walk together, confirming their importance to each other with brief hugs and hand-holding under cherry blossom trees. In the new school term, Amane and Mahiru find themselves in the same class. Yuta starts talking to Amane more frequently, while Mahiru becomes more cheerful and affectionate towards Amane, surprising him by requesting him to rest his head on her lap. Although confused, Amane finds comfort in this and falls asleep. Mahiru makes it clear that Amane is the only one who gets to see this side of her. Amane continues to win stuffed animals for Mahiru, and she asks if there's anything he would like in return. Amane picks pudding, but Mahiru seems dissatisfied with his choice. He then embarrasses her by insisting that her cooking is the highlight of his day. The next day, Mahiru unexpectedly feels jealous when she sees Yuta talking to Amane in public. As a result, she starts casually interacting with Amane at school, and ends up in a group cooking project with him, Itsuki, and Chitose. While fooling around in the kitchen, other students almost burn Mahiru, but Amane comes to her rescue. Mahiru notices that Amane holds her longer than necessary, which earns them jealous stares from others. Mahiru hopes that other students won't bother Amane, but she is visibly upset by the fact that it will take a long time before they can interact casually in public. Amane and Mahiru are looking forward to a week off from school, and Mahiru suggests they go out somewhere. Amane agrees, and they plan to visit a cat cafe, an arcade, and do some shopping. Mahiru also gives Chitose cooking lessons, and while they are cooking, Amane falls asleep. After Chitose leaves, Mahiru confesses to Amane that she had pinched his cheek while he was asleep. As they get ready for their day out, Amane is pleasantly surprised to see Mahiru dressed up and with styled hair. Throughout the day, they hold hands almost unconsciously. At the cat cafe, Amane comments on how Mahiru is cat-like, initially distant, then affectionate and enjoying being petted. At the arcade, Mahiru wins Amane a toy cat and he almost pets her hair, but their moment is interrupted by Yuta, who quickly deduces what's going on between them. Amane makes another negative comment about himself, causing Mahiru to question the root of his low self-esteem. The next day, Yuta asks probing questions that make Amane reflect on his feelings for Mahiru. When Amane returns home, he catches Mahiru guiltily looking at his childhood photographs that were emailed to her by his mother. Amane playfully wrestles for her phone, but in the process, he falls on top of her and almost kisses her. However, he resists and instead pinches her cheek. Mahiru appears disappointed when he can't see her face. As Mother's Day approaches, Mahiru questions why Amane won't even return home to see his mother. Amane finally opens up and explains that in junior high, he had 3 friends who manipulated him for his money, which led him to lose trust in others, even his other friends, and switch schools. Mahiru promises Amane that he can always depend on her when he's feeling upset. A rumor spreads at school that Mahiru went on a date with a guy, which Mahiru confirms was the most important person in her life. She later insists to Amane that this is true, as she has no strong feelings for her parents, and her friends, especially Amane, are her most treasured relationships. Amane, feeling a compulsion to improve his appearance, starts exercising and begins having dreams about having sex with Mahiru, which makes him act strangely around her. Mahiru is upset until Amane explains about his embarrassing dream, which he finds funny. With exams approaching, Mahiru promises Amane that if he scores in the top 10, he can lie with his head in her lap again. She also reveals that she loves taking care of him, and her use of the word love overwhelms Amane. Amane achieves a 6th place in the exams. Amane argues that Mahiru deserves a reward for scoring first, but Mahiru refuses, stating that her wish is not something he can grant. Instead, Mahiru insists on putting Amane's head in her lap and stroking his hair until she falls asleep. Amane is left with no choice but to carry her to her apartment. In her drowsy state, Mahiru asks Amane to sleep in her bed with her, but he resists the temptation. The next morning, Mahiru is both mortified and frustrated that she has developed physical desires for Amane. However, Amane deliberately misunderstands her hints about her desires. As summer arrives, Mahiru changes into her summer uniform and makes sure to show Amane her bare legs without tights, prompting him to admit that he likes her legs. Mahiru also confesses that she wanted him to see them. Amane becomes angry when he overhears girls gossiping about Mahiru, but she accepts it as a normal reaction to her popular public personality. Amane insists that he prefers the real Mahiru that she shows in private, embarrassing her but also making her happy that he knows the real her. Mahiru finds it cute that Amane is possessive of the real her and hopes that no one at school ever finds out. Immediately after their conversation, Amane warns Mahiru that he will silence her with a kiss if she continues to tease him. To his surprise, Mahiru kisses him on the cheek, leaving him stunned. At school, they are awkward with each other, causing Itsuki to worry that they are fighting. When they are alone at home, they both agree that the kiss was meaningless, although neither of them seems to be happy about it. They also discuss the upcoming sports day, where they will both compete in the scavenger race. During the race, which is organized by Chitose, they choose each other as the item they need to find and finish the race together, despite being on opposite teams. To the utter amazement of the entire school, it is then revealed that Amane was supposed to find someone beautiful while Mahiru was supposed to find someone special. The boys become furious, so Amane criticizes them for idolizing Mahiru as the angel, while to him, she is just Mahiru and he likes her that way. Mahiru also shames the boys for their behavior, stating that it is none of their business. Privately, Mahiru apologizes to Amane for causing him trouble, but Amane then apologizes for ignoring her feelings and reveals his own feelings fully. He asks her to be his girlfriend, and she happily accepts.